Well, hey, welcome to day 39 of Own It. We are, man, we're pushing through. I'm so excited for so many of you that are just continually pushing and pushing. And we're getting in the moment of Exodus. Some people can get a little bogged down, a little frustrated because there begins to be the measurements and the laws that happen. And so, in those, as you read those, let me just encourage you, read them in the mindset of what is God trying to say? What does this actually mean? And one of those is here, for those of you with the Tabernacle series, this should not bother you. This should not bore you. You should just get even more excited as you're reading it. Those of you that didn't go through the Tabernacle series, we did that October time frame. Check that series out. One of the most impactful. In fact, I got the picture of it right here. This tabernacle, and just as we walked through, it took 7 days to walk through the tabernacle, which is a picture of what's going on in heaven. I don't have time to talk about it, but it's an exciting thing. But I want to point out to you, for those of you reading through, this is one of those things that you need to really pay attention to, or what you're looking for as you're reading. Okay, as you're reading through Exodus, and we're gonna get into Leviticus, and Numbers, and those are two that really hamper people. That's where most people fail. They can't make it through. So I'm gonna give you a little tip and trick how to read this. So as I'm reading through, I get into the anointing oil. I'm actually in chapter 30 of the book of Exodus, reading in the ESV version. The anointing oil and the incense. The Lord said to Moses, take the finest spices, a liquid myrrh, 500 shekels, and a sweet-smelling cinnamon, half as much, 250 shekels, 250 shekels of aromatic cane, and 500 of cassia, according to the shekel of sanctuary, and a hin of olive oil. Now here's what I mean by that. See, we can kind of just blast through that, okay, but it, not want to dive into that and go, okay, cool, I've read that. I'm on to my other thing. But as you read these numbers, you need to pay attention to the numbers. What do the number mean? And I'm not asking you to deep dive into what's myrrh, what's cinnamon, what we all know what cinnamon is, but those type of things. What does that really mean? But it's as simple as this. Okay, a lot of us, when we think about anointing oil, maybe this is what we got. This is what we kind of carry around. Those who have Pentecostal faith, right? Any good pastor, you've got your anointing oil, or maybe you've got a little bit more, or man, you're super holy and you've got a lot. But what God is describing to Moses is a hin. I know this is. Let me cover the brand up, right? This is just water, but a hin is 4 quarts, a gallon of oil. So imagine the amount of anointing oil that he was creating, and to recognize that. So what does that mean to us? What does that mean to you and I? Well, I need you to recognize something. When he says that, if we kind of see the Spirit of God coming down and upon the tabernacle, recognize what God is saying. He goes, I don't want you to have a little bit of anointing. Okay, I don't want you to just have a little bit. I want you to have more than enough. That's the God we serve. And so when we read that, it's a reminder to us that I don't walk around with a little anointing. I need to walk around with a lot of anointing. That my desire is not a little bit of who God is. It's a desire for all that I can contain of God. To recognize that peace. And so God's desire, as he's going through and telling them, is his desire is to be with the people. And he says, and when the anointing happens, when that happens, it's going to be a lot of anointing and not just a little bit. So don't settle. Don't settle for a little bit. Go for the big. Go for everything that God has for you.